You're looking at a very unusual kind of egg from Cadbury that's only around till Easter.
Just not Easter without those crazy Peeps.
Fucking kidding, the Easter Bunny did this?
All I said was the Easter Bunny at the Menlo Park Mall was more convincing. He just jumped the railing and knocked me down.
This thing rules. The thing rules.
Oh, hey, what's up? I'm Brian Altano.
And I'm Max Scoville.
This is a show where we discuss something we love,
Unpack why we love it,
explain where it came from,
try to remember our first impressions of it,
share our weird stories about it,
maybe learn something new about it along the way.
but first and foremost, we're here to celebrate the fact that this thing rules.
Happy Easter, or almost. It's that holiday that we all really don't celebrate, but it involves candy, so we kind of do.
We're both dads, so this is a holiday that is here more than ever now. But this is the one where religion is involved, but the bunny sort of took it over. But there isn't really, no one's ever like there's a war on Easter, right?
Yeah, no, it's kind of odd that no one says that, because I don't know, like it's got the same level of like, wait, how did this get involved as Christmas? Where like Christmas is like, okay, the birth of Christ. Why is there a guy who comes down chimneys there bringing you, socks full of toys or whatever? Like that's confusing, at best. And then in the case of Easter, it's the holiday that sort of commemorates the death and rebirth of that dude whose birthday is on Christmas, and the way they celebrate that is with a rabbit that lays eggs. I'm not sure how we got there, but there we go. I mean, in both cases, obviously there's the Christian holiday that kind of gets the top billing, but there's definitely some weird pagan DNA in there.
Yeah, I'm a very lapsed Christian. No disrespect to those that still follow, unless you're actively trying to make things worse for a bunch of people, then much disrespect.
We don't need to go into that.
No, it's fine. I'm just saying, but I do celebrate Easter as a dad. And I think even before I was a dad, I was like, hey, it's Easter time. I should cook something, or like people might come over. I don't really know. Like, I didn't know what to do in the decades between being raised like Christian Catholic and then becoming a dad, where I'm like, all right, the bunny's here.
Well, unlike,
but there was always a reason to do something, right?
Yeah. Unlike Christmas, which is like, December 25th, and it's like the holidays. Easter kind of hops around like a little rabbit. It's sort of, no one's ever really sure when it is. Everybody's school has different spring breaks. Sometimes the spring break lines up with it. You've got, I think, Passover in there somewhere, and it's like no one coordinates this shit very well. And, at the end of the day, I guess some people have tried to make Easter like a gift-giving occasion, but it's always had, I feel like, more in common with Halloween in a fucked up way.
It is a weird it's like a lazy man's Halloween where chocolate shows up at your house without you doing the work for it. Even
Christmas is like, you got to be good for Santa or he's going to give you coal. He's going to punish you with fossil fuels.
I don't think you have to. There's no thermometer of how hot or cold you've been that year based on how much treats you're going to get, right?
Easter,
like no one's like,
again, Easter makes no sense. The celebration of Easter, and it's like, on some level I get it, because you're like, okay, there's eggs, which symbolize like rebirth and springtime and all that, and you're like, rabbits and chicks are there, and they're springtime animals. I learned today, like this morning at like 6:30, being like, oh, we're going to make a stupid podcast about Easter candy. I should probably do a little bit of research on this.
This is very much a do your homework on the bus type show. You're on the way to school and you're like, oh shit, we got to test.
Some weeks more than others, but I was under the impression that Easter got candy after Halloween. Like, I was under the impression that was if anything, they were kind of neck and neck in terms of
that Easter. That they introduced candy to Easter.
I assume that because Easter is such a fundamentally like more somber. I mean, I guess it is somber and celebratory holiday. Like it's heavy, it's got some heavy shit associated with it. So
the guy that Jesus moves a rock. So
which is heavy, but like you'd think that, I guess I wouldn't assume that there would just be candy there from day one. But as far as I can tell, that had candy associated with it long before Halloween did.
But not day one, right?
No, they didn't have chocolate eggs there the day Jesus rolled the bowl.
Well, you said day one.
No,
I thought
not,
you, like,
not day one.
He rolls the thing out of the way,
No, so-
and this guy goes, "This is perfect time for a Butterfinger."
The other big thing I learned, which honestly fucked me up. I remember watching those Cadbury egg commercials growing up, where it's got the clucking rabbit that lays the chocolate eggs, and I assumed that was just some like 90s advertising weirdness. I assumed that was like the got milk mustache, the guy who can't talk, he's calling it like the Aaron Burr radio. Like it's just that kind of weird 90s commercial to it where you're just like, what is it's they're being sort of random. What's the story here? That egg laying rabbit dates back to the fucking 1500s.
That's insane.
It's okay. So the Easter hare or the Osterhase is an Easter symbol. It seems to have its origins in Germany. It was first mentioned in German writings in the 1500s. So they were back that they probably actually thought that like rabbits laid eggs. I don't know. Maybe, at the time they would see rabbits running around and they would find eggs in the bushes from actual animals and birds. Mm-hmm. I don't fucking know. But somehow that became associated that came over to America with Dutch immigrants, and then it became this whole thing where they're like, yeah, this rabbit's going to come in. And also I love that that's been kind of like, maybe there's not a war on Easter, but they have definitely gotten a little bit woke, making it so the rabbit doesn't lay the eggs anymore. They're just sort of ambiguous. He shows up with like a basket. I want that dude to pop a squat and just fucking shit out some eggs.
Yeah.
I want that dude. I want nature's Easter. I want the real shit.
Do you think that would be good or bad for the people who think there might be a war on Easter? Did it go away because they wanted it to, or do you think we should bring it back to piss them off, or would everyone be happy and for different reasons?
Really, it's one of those arguments where you're like, whose side is who is whom? Do you know the whole the Kaganer, the Catalan tradition of there's a dude at the manger. If you go to Barcelona, they have little figurines everywhere of a dude taking a shit, and that's a thing that they have. He's part of the nativity. And the idea being there, like, oh yeah, like baby Jesus was born in a manger. He was there with a bunch of farm animals, and also there's like a drunk dude taking a shit. And they're like, that's a part of it. And there was a controversy over there because a bunch of people were like, maybe like in the nativity in front of the church, there shouldn't be a dude taking a shit. And they were like, fuck you. You are trying to ruin Christmas. That dude taking a shit has to be in there. That is part of Christmas tradition. And so they just were like, all right, fine, we'll leave it in there. Over here, we're like, we should. They're trying to make you say Happy Holidays. They shouldn't say that. It's like anyway. But
I think they should bring it back because I think the rabbit laying eggs is one of those things that's fun. It's funny and harmless, and that we need more of that in the world.
It's funny. It is harmless.
Scientifically incorrect,
but so is a lot of religion.
Yeah, sure, exactly. So so is a guy moving a rock and going to space or whatever, right?
What's that video game company that the logo is like a dog laying eggs or whatever?
HAL Laboratories. They made Smash Brothers. Yeah.
Right. So like I remember we interviewed Suda.
Also not true.
And you were like, if dogs laid eggs, would you eat one? And he was like, yes. And like
actually, it was shorter than that. Like he was so quickly like, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's something about like if an animal produced a certain, like, you're not about to go out and drink like people, you're like yak milk, ew. But then it's like, anyway, regular milk, that's fine. Sure. If you could, I don't know, milk an alpaca or whatever, would you drink alpaca milk? Like I'd try it, but I'd probably, there's definitely like there's sort of a weird association there just because
I watched you milk a goat directly into your coffee cup at your bachelor party, which is at a farm.
Yeah. Which was a little rowdy, but
it was rowdy. But I think you would do the same with an alpaca, right?
I don't know if the alpaca would want to do it, but
out of respect,
yeah. But no, like,
did they have that?
What, milking an alpaca?
Yeah.
No, I was just using an example.
Is that
pulling
just
it out of my ass like the Easter rabbit does with those eggs? I don't.
Is that what you do to an alpaca to get milk?
No. I don't know what you do. No, my point is, okay, so the FDA reclassified rabbits as poultry at one point. I remember this was like in the 90s or something, and it was this weird thing because like not that many people are eating rabbit in the States to begin with, and I was like,
no.
And then it's also like, but poultry is like chickens and little birds and fowl. Why is a rabbit like that? And it was something about the size and consistency of the meat. They were like, yeah, rabbit is poultry, and it's like, on what basis? The fact that it allegedly lays eggs at Easter time? I don't get it, but it's one of those things. Anyway, the idea of a rabbit laying eggs is one of the funniest things that I could conjure up. And I thought that was thought up by some like 90s marketing machine that was like, this is going to make weird Nickelodeon kids buy a bunch of cream-filled candy eggs. It is some shit from the Middle Ages, which I like. It makes me really happy. Like,
No, it's better. It's almost better.
Wonderful revelation.
We don't have a lot of stuff from then that we still do. Well, I mean, we're bringing some of it back, but a lot of it from back then, we're really like, no, we've moved on from that. Like, you know, a lot of our surgery is better than just like a guy in a river with like a rock, you know, and leeches. I think they still have their place in medicine, but for the most part, it's not really like a thing that we go to. Probably it's not really in our top 10 in surgery. Like you're not watching like The Pit on HBO or whatever, and a guy grabs a bag of leeches. Doesn't really happen as much.
I would watch the hell out of like an HBO medical drama that is just in medieval times, and they're just doing incredibly fucked up stuff. But it's not really about that. It's more about their interpersonal relationships, where there's just like there's drama in the ER, and they're just like hacking limbs off and giving people leeches, and drilling holes in the head.
The Nick was with Clive Owen was not medieval, but pretty old and pretty close to them just being like, hey, we'll go a little carnal with a couple of ideas here. Yeah, it was bad.
So what's your favorite Easter candy?
Okay, so I think most Easter candy sucks.
What?
No, I'm sorry to say that in a show called This Thing Rules. But my favorite Easter candy, the one, and this is, I have such a great story behind this. So growing up, my mother and her parents and brothers, were immigrants from Italy, and they showed up and they didn't know really what to do, but also they moved to like the Jersey City, Hoboken, New Jersey area of New Jersey, which for some odd reason, like millions of Italians from the same 5 towns moved to at the same exact time. So growing up, we just constantly bumped into people who were like, where are you from? Molfetta in Italy? Okay. And you would just hear all these stories about how great it was there. And after a while, you'd kind of be like, it was so great. Why did you all fucking leave? You know, like imagine if you saw like 60 geese and they were all leaving somewhere and they're like, that place is amazing. We're never going back. But why are you here? It's so great. There's nothing like it. All right. Well, you going to learn any of the new cultures of this new place that you guys all just migrated to? No. Okay. So basically, my mom's family like listened to Italian radio. They got Italian newspapers. They had Italian neighbors, and they followed Italian traditions. But they did this in America, and the word for that is xenophobia. And but they did it in a cute way, right? They weren't like I hate America. They're like I love America. It's great, but it's a lot. And I showed up late. So I'm just going to kind of like get a C on my report card until I die. And they did, thumbs up. They all graduated.
What's your favorite Easter candy?
So they started getting this thing.
Thanks for explaining
I'm getting there.
To me.
It's called D.I. L'Oreo milk chocolate eggs. Now, everyone's like, oh, your favorite Easter candy is a milk chocolate egg? Hold on. The ones that my nonna got, and she would specifically go to stores to get these. And I had a bunch of fucking cousins. So she would get like 12 of these things, right? Are these gigantic, garish, huge hollow chocolate eggs. And they're placed on top of like this cup so that they can hold up and stay strong, right? And not like crack on the shelf. And then they are wrapped in this like incredibly ornate, very shiny, very kind of like over the top, overly printed aluminum wrapping, right? Now, inside of that is a chocolate egg, and when you crack it open, there's a toy inside. And so you get this egg that's like probably a foot tall. It sits on this plastic cup, which I guess you're supposed to shatter the milk chocolate and just eat it out of the cup, and then you get the toy. But the wrapping is the ridiculous part because it has this like cartoon gift wrapping on top of it almost, right? Where like it goes up about 1.5 feet. Giada De Laurentiis, is that her name? The celebrity chef made her own version of this called Giadzy with Gidzy. Yeah. So, and she totally mimicked like the whole, like this, it's just got this like, it's extremely New Jersey. I don't even know if she's from New Jersey, but this, to me, anything that's just like overly garish and it's got this big foofy top on top of it, I'm like, yeah, that's it. And so my nonna would get these things for years. And like, I got them until I was like, I think if I showed up for Easter, Like Max, if I flew in on Easter Sunday and I was like, hey, no, I'm going to be there. She'd be like, can someone translate this for me? I don't know what that man just said. But second, she'd be like, all right, I'm going to go to the store and get you an egg. And she would get me this like fucking gigantic egg. And the thing is, we were able to track, before I knew what shrinkflation was, we watched the toys in these things get shittier and shittier. And like when they started out, it was like it was like a plastic camera or like a whole action figure.
What?
Yeah, like they started off like really robust with like moving parts, and it would be like this, not like a shitty dollar store army man with a parachute, but like fully painted, wrapped in plastic inside. It's like, oh man, like they went, like this is a legit, like at the time, like a $5 toy. And this is like 80s or 90s, right? Which got you pretty far. $5 would get you a Star Wars action figure in the 90s, right? And little by little, we just watched them get worse and worse and worse to the point where like there was one year we opened to like 12 of them and only 2 of them even had anything in them. And the rest were just totally hollow. And like 3 of them had like a fortune.
Oh.
Like just like a piece of paper. Like it was, like people were like Cracker Jack prizes. And by the time we got Cracker Jacks, remember it was just like a little sticker or something. And you're like, you guys used to get toys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like half an apology.
Yeah.
Like the printer fucked it up. It's just trying to say I'm sorry.
So those are my favorite, my runner-up favorite, and I haven't eaten one of these in a while, but we used to get through like my Italian aunts, who were like, this is a religious holiday. They would go and get like the chocolate Jesus stuff. So you would get like a cross, or you would literally get a chocolate Jesus. And then you'd get in the car and you'd be like, ha ha, and bite off his head, and then, eat the rest of his body
You're
of Christ.
supposed to eat his body in the church. He's
Like
supposed
that's
to be
the whole thing.
Transmuted into crackers or whatever. That's
yeah. So those are the 2 that stick out to me the most in terms of being like the most special to me. It really is the only time of year where you can eat a cross. I mean, I guess you could eat a cross whenever you wanted, but
that's true. So just the Diorio milk chocolate egg. I'm just looking at pictures of it online. I'm just like, okay, it's just like I'm thinking like Cadbury egg size. It is 250 grams, which is almost like it's over half a pound.
Yeah, it's big.
So it's a big bastard. It's $18.99. The picture of it just looks like a Siamese fighting fish sideways with the textures replaced with children's hospital wallpaper. Like it's really just very upsetting to look at. It's kind of like with the cup underneath and the egg thing, it ceases to be egg shaped and really starts to look more suppository-esque.
It does.
Or like some sort of lover's present that goes in the back there. Just
See,
really not a...
I had no point of reference for that growing up, but now in hindsight, 2020, I'm looking at it.
I get it.
Yeah.
It looks like a butt plug.
I'm looking at it and I'm like, yeah, this is definitely, butt plug coated. Apparently in the last few years, they started bump mapping this thing to make this pairing of words worse. And it just looks like this fucked up Rice Krispie treat thing, or like, yeah, it's got this,
it looks like the dude in the beginning of The Rock who gets exposed to like the nerve gas and lock him in in the sealed chamber, and he gets all Deadpool looking. It's there are like surprisingly few. Okay, so that's the hazelnut one that's got, but like there are surprisingly few photos of this thing online. Like there's one that has like giraffes on it, but the thing that's psychotic about the Diorio milk chocolate Easter eggs was that you never know what they're going to get wrapped in, and you never know what toy you're going to get inside. So it was this whole surprise element to it where like 12 of us would open these things at the same time. And it like somebody would get like a helicopter and somebody else would get like a women's journal, like a young woman's journal. And you'd be like, you want to trade? Like there's nothing nothing about the outside of this tells you anything. They're not gender specific or anything like that. Like that you just open it up and you go, all right, hope for the best. And some years, like they would have saints on them, and some years they'd have animals, and you'd be like, I don't know who's in charge of this, but that's wild.
Yeah, hope for the best.
So yeah, the egg thing, obviously that brings to mind Kinder eggs, which we have like shitty neutered versions of in the States, because apparently our fat little children are too stupid to not just eat an entire egg that has a toy inside of it or whatever. But over in Europe, they have like you know, they have that like little Kinder Egg hippo who's, you know, they dress him up like Luke Skywalker. They give him like land speeders and stuff. They do all sorts of like, you know, licensed tie-ins. But over here you get like, I think you get like stickers maybe. It's like very, again, it's like the Cracker Jack deal where it's very.
They started slowly because my kid will like throw one of these in our grocery basket every couple of months and I won't notice till I get there and I'm like, you fucking little sneak. But like, yeah, they started doing little things now where like you can actually build a little toy out of it. And they're all, it's weird. They're tinier parts. So you can build like a triceratops. We actually got like the last time my kid grabbed a Kinder Egg, it came with a chicken inside of it that was sitting like inside of an egg. And I was like, what the, is this some fucking.
That's confusing.
Like,
That's
yeah,
a lot.
It was a lot. The thing I never really got into was the malted egg things. You know what they are?
What are you talking about? Like Whoppers?
They're like Whoppers, but they're eggs. It's milk chocolate inside, and the outside has this malted shell.
You're
They're
not
like
talking about like Cadbury mini eggs because those things are.
They're kind of like that, but like I think we got a lot of the bootleg ones growing up, or like the dollar store ones where they're
Are they the ones that
extremely
come in like
chalky?
a milk carton? And they're
some of the good ones do. The good ones do, but the cheap ones just come in a bag and they're just dusty as hell. They're just chalky.
I think I know what you're talking about. So this I like Easter candy because it's very specialized.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like a lot of Halloween candy is like it's kind of like how people do Halloween costumes where there's like, you know, some people try like Skittles will be like, hey, this is a zombie bag. Every other piece is scary tasting, but half the time they're just like Reese's. We put a bat on the label. Happy Halloween, everybody. They just phone it in. They did the candy equivalent of just, you know, going to Ruby's or going to Spirit Halloween and getting a shitty last minute Ruby's costume. Easter candy, on the other hand, I feel like is a lot more deliberate. And, you know, looking at the history of it, it's got much more of a running start. But like the whole egg thing, for starters, has been going on for a very long time. And it's, I don't know, we don't think too hard about it. Why eggs? I don't know, because of springtime or whatever. And, you know, in addition to the sort of the, you know, the Kinder Eggs and the Giada Dioreos or whatever, there's a bunch of, I was poking around. Apparently in Greece, all the eggs are red because they want to symbolize the blood of Christ, which is, I feel like, really just mixing your metaphors a lot, where it's like, if you have a magic rabbit that comes along and is shitting red eggs that are like, I don't know, that feels like a FromSoft item, not so much like a religious candy, but regardless, like whatever. They just, I mean, the egg thing is a big part of it. You also have Peeps. Peeps have tried to rebrand to fit in. I don't like Peeps, for the record. I think they're stupid, but
I don't either.
They are funny. They are funny to throw in a microwave because they are one of the few things that do to radiation what we were told radiation did to things in old movies. Like that is one of the few things that you can realistically Honey, I Shrunk the Kids with, and it won't just either die or explode. It'll just get actually
Peeps,
huge.
They are one of those Peeps is up there with like cilantro and a couple other things where you can sort of go like, do you like these or not like these? And there's a very specific line. No one is ever like, oh, they're pretty cool. I have like I have like 1 or 2 boxes a year. They're all right, but I don't really like them. People are either like, I love them or I hate them.
They're kind of Easter's candy corn, I think.
Yeah. They are Easter's candy corn.
Yeah.
But I think the thing with like candy corn is it's found a lane. It's stuck in it. Peeps have been like, hey, you know what we are? We're Easter's Oreos.
Great
which
news.
means,
we're making 4th of July Peeps. They're all shaped like little old Uncle Sam if he was a duck.
Yes, they're completely fucking insane now. And you know, power to them, but I was somewhere. I was at a store the other day, and there was like literally like 16 different varieties of them, and I was like, "This is the thing people get once a year, maybe." Like you put a specific holiday mascot on this, and
you know what I hate about it is they have the 2 varieties. They have the little Peeps, which are chickens, which actually make a peeping noise, which makes sense, and they come all packaged. And I actually think they're very impressive because they actually look like little birds. Yeah. And then they have the ones that are just rabbits, which it looks like you took a shitty cookie cutter and made a rabbit shape.
It is just a weird cookie cutter rabbit shape.
It sucks.
And they've done nothing to improve on that.
Rabbits, maybe they cluck if they're like the Cadbury rabbit.
They actually peep when they lay eggs. Do you know about cascarones?
What?
Okay, hold on. So there's a Mexican festival. I believe it's called Lenten, and it's like a Catholic thing, and they take eggs and hollow them out, And I happened to be in Santa Barbara last year while this was happening, and they sell, it's kind of fucking awesome. Like they figured out a way to like not gamify, but like toyify an egg. And so they take eggs, they get all the yolk and whites out somehow. I don't know what they do with them. Maybe just cook or freeze them or save them or whatever. And they have these things like they're just these hollow eggs, and they paint them to look like Sonic the Hedgehog, the Mario Brothers, Ninja Turtles, Bart Simpson, all this other like shit that like we've grown up with, fucking SpongeBob and Despicable Me, all like the Minions. And everywhere you go, people are selling hundreds of these things on the street, and the streets are shut down and people are openly drinking, and you can buy these things by the dozen or the half dozen, and they are filled with glitter or confetti, mostly confetti. And the whole thing is you drink in the street and you smash them on each other's heads.
What?
And yes.
What is this? What's this called?
It's called Lenten, and it's basically cascarones are the name of these like eggs, right?
So they're not
CAS.
candy, they're like
They're not. Yeah, don't eat them. Please don't eat them. Eat them when they're regular eggs. And so I was in Santa Barbara with my wife and kid, and they were selling cascarones everywhere for like 3 days straight. And everywhere we went, they were selling these things. And I was like, hey, we're out. I'm going to buy Mario, Luigi, Princess Peach, and Toad. And we're going to take turns smashing them on each other's heads. And so my kid, like, I have all these pictures of my kid taking like full real eggs that were painted and filled with confetti. She smashed all 4 Ninja Turtles on my head. And I was like, this is a good time. Like, this is where, like, can we get this? Can like white people get a little bit of this? I mean, I don't mean appropriation, but I mean, like, can we have this level of fun on Easter? Like, we hide candy like in the morning before our kids wake up, but like smashing hollow eggs that look like the Ninja Turtles on each other's heads. Fuck
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
I will say, even though like the hiding candy thing is pretty fun. I like
it is fun.
Easter has a game.
It
like,
does.
Trick or treating. I love it. I love dressing up. I love all that. We talked about that before, but like, you know, the appeal there is obvious, but it also is like a different kind of activity. Whereas like trying to find a little, like just trying to, I don't know, it turns your like your own, you know, your own home, your own turf into like this weird like game area where you're suddenly like, ooh, where's the candy? Where is their candy hidden?
It's always been, since I've become a dad, my cheat code for that has been like, I'll buy like, I'll get like a, you know, like the dozen plastic eggs, which I just now at this point keep in my garage empty all year, and then fill up and refill, right? But then I'll buy a bunch of new chocolate and stuff like that, and Easter candy, and the eggs I'll follow my kid around the yard. It's not as shitty as telling your child that a real adult-sized rabbit laid eggs and hid candy in the yard. Which, like, in terms, like, you know, we've talked about like Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy and stuff like that. That's the one where I'm like, I have very little backstory on the Easter Bunny. But like my cheat code is I will follow my daughter around the yard as she finds eggs, and when she gets like 6 or 7 in there and she's excited and she sees something ahead of her that she's going to go grab, I'll take 2 or 3 eggs out, and then I'll just hide them again. And you can turn like a 10-minute exercise into like 45 minutes, and it's the best.
You make it a roguelike, basically.
Yeah, you make and after a while, like, I know, like, my kid's 6, so, you know, short shelf life on what I'm doing here. So I might have like another 2 years, maybe tops on this, but it's been very fun to sort of prolong the game. Last year I hid one thing like way too high, and she didn't see it. And like a week later, we had friends over, and they were kids, like not with their parents too. And the kids were playing in the backyard, and all of a sudden, I just started hearing all this yelling, and I run out there. I'm like, "What's going on?" And my daughter's like, "Oh my God, look, the Easter Bunny came back!" And I'm like, "I think you just forgot that from like a week before." Have you been to like Easter egg hunts, like the communal ones, the big ones?
No.
Okay, so we got invited to one in our neighborhood recently. Well, not recently, for the upcoming thing, and like I didn't say yes or whatever, but it's just like a whole bunch of people in the neighborhood get together. Somebody's in charge of this, and they just hide Easter eggs everywhere. And the worst, this is so bad. The worst thing I've ever done on Easter, besides, I don't know, probably like have sex, which I guess is bad. That's
fine. It's a springtime thing. It's this is how, it's normal.
It's not Jesus' birthday.
The birds, the bees, and the boys are all fucking out there. It's good.
Yeah, exactly. It's when he moves the rock to get out into the world.
You gotta get those rocks off with the.
So one of my good friends growing up, he turned out to be like a really bad guy, right? Like a lot of our friends growing up. Maybe you someday. Who knows?
What the hell?
I have my eye on you.
What does this have to do with an egg hunt? I'm so judgmental. What the fuck?
No, so he invited me to. He's like, "Yo, dude, they're doing an Easter egg hunt in my neighborhood," and we were like in 6th grade, which is when you don't give a shit about Easter egg hunts, but also like you're too young to like do your own thing. Right. Or like go like get messed up somewhere or like, you know, go to the mall. Like you have no money, you have no car. But like little kid shit is too lame, but you still go. 'Cause like, what else are you going to do? Stay home? Answer. Yes. So he calls me up, and he calls my house line. Right. And he's like, yo man, let's go to this Easter egg hunt. And I'm like, all right, I guess candy's still cool. So we go to this Easter egg hunt it's hosted by, so there's this one, so I'll put it this way. I'm gonna do this as carefully as possible. Me and my brothers, we had there was like an enemy family growing up that we didn't like. That was like three kids around the same age as us, right? And
you had an enemy family?
Well, like no, like we didn't. We sometimes fought them, but like we, for the most part, like my dad thought their dad was an asshole. My mom didn't like their mom. We all went to school together. We had to just put up with it, right? I didn't like any of those kids. My brothers didn't like any of those kids. They were fucking whatever. It happens, right?
Fair enough, yeah.
Like it's the fucking O'Doyle's from
sure.
Billy Madison, basically, right? And so they're like, "Hey guys, we're gonna have a big Easter egg hunt on our corner property in blah 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 blah." And so we get there, and at the same time, they were also like, "And we're doing a barbecue for the grown-ups." So we were like, "Oh, that's funny." So it's an Easter egg hunt that has like all these like has all this barbecue food at it. What if?
No. So
me and my buddy, we went and found like all the eggs super fast, faster than a lot of the 3-year-olds could do it. Shockingly. And we took the candy out, and instead of candy, which we pocketed, and it's just shitty candy, right? Because these people were terrible. It's like Smarties and all that. We didn't even want it.
Yeah, they sound terrible, Brian.
Yeah, they were the bad ones. Not us. We took the plastic Easter eggs, and we opened them up, and inside we put hot dogs and mustard and ketchup. And all right, as a dad now, I would be really mad, right? That would be
funny.
I would be livid. I think the first one I would be like, oh fuck, that's really funny. Probably by the 5th or 6th one I'd be like, all right, this is wrong. This is definitely wrong for the kids. But the first half hour, there were adults and kids going all over this big lawn, picking up Easter eggs, cracking them open, and inside all these hot dogs and like chicken wings and shit like that with mustard and ketchup come splashing. And like, whatever, man. Like this is
nobody wears pastels on Easter.
Yeah,
nobody wears bright light colors.
Nobody wears white. Yeah, no, it's not like this. But this was my level of like respect for this holiday as like a thing that like really mattered, right? Like I think this is not me like running into a church and being like hot dogs, right? It's an Easter egg hunt. It's not real, you know? I admit what I did was bad. I'll just do that. Can I do that?
I'll just say it.
If you're going to stonewall me, I'll say it. I'll say it to our audience. What I did, hiding hot dogs in the Easter eggs, that was bad. Was it funny?
It's pretty funny.
Yes. Was it harmless?
Debatable.
Question, gray area. Up in the air.
growing up, I never this honestly, and sort of now that the more I think about it, it just seems unsanitary and sad. But like, I think my mom didn't like those plastic eggs, probably because they were like wasteful or garish or something. And so I remember doing Easter egg hunts around my house, and she would just have like, and this honestly just seems sort of even more cruel than following your kid around and just like picking up the eggs and refilling them. She would just hide like individual jelly beans. Like she'd take like, like one of those like little like Dove chocolate eggs or like a cat, like not a full Cadbury egg. I'd get like one or two of those, but she'd take like, just hide them around to the point where it was basically like I Spy. And it was, it wasn't like in the yard, I don't think. But I remember just like on her, she had like big bookcases and there'd be like, all the books with like different colored spines or whatever. And she'd find like, she'd find a book that had the exact same color as whatever egg she was hiding and put it right there. So it was like camouflaged. And yeah, I would be finding these things for like weeks afterward, which is kind of cool. I'd be watching after school cartoons or something and be like, hey, a jelly bean, but like.
That was like when your buddy Hamza came to your house. It was like right after you guys first got a house. You threw a party and he came by with like a bag of plastic, like tiny plastic babies.
Okay, yeah. So that's honestly, I think this is something that should. I think Easter egg hunts should be expanded to things beyond Easter eggs, and I think they should be expanded beyond Easter. I think hiding stuff for people to find it is just a nice thing to do for your friends. It's also really kind of mean and funny. But yeah,
that's what I was doing with the hot dog thing. I mean, like I thought
kids love hot dogs.
We're on the same page.
It's better for them than candy, maybe.
They love mustard too.
Kids can't get enough mustard unless they don't like it. In which case, they probably don't like it. But kids do love ketchup. That's like candy sauce. It's fine. No, so we had a Halloween party, and Hamza, I guess he did the bullshit thing where he went to like Spirit Halloween or Party City or whatever at the last minute to buy a Halloween costume. And he bought this I think it was like a Ninja Turtles costume or something. And he was like, cool, I'll buy this. And he's like, all right, time to get in line to buy the thing. And it's like the day before Halloween. So the line is like all around the store.
Oh, man.
And it goes all the way back to the baby shower department. And so he's like waiting in line, behind like.
The baby shower department at Spirit Halloween?
Not Spirit, like it was like Party City or something.
Okay,
it was a party store. Yeah, it wasn't Spirit. Spirit Halloween probably does have a baby shower department, but it's all like.
Like, are you trying to curse the baby?
It's all like Chucky, Rosemary's Baby themed. I don't know. But no, so he's waiting in line there, and I think he was just kind of like, looking around, and he found this bag of 100 plastic baby beads. That are just, I think they're the kind of, what's that? Is it like Mardi Gras where they, in New Orleans, where they put like a baby in the cake or something?
It's a king cake. And then people put them in drinks and stuff too at baby showers.
Okay.
Which is fucked up because like, why, what are you drinking at a baby shower?
These little plastic babies, he hid them throughout the night. He just, it was a big ass house party, a bunch of people hanging around, and he went all around the house and hid them everywhere he could think of. Everywhere. And we were finding them for fucking years. Like years. And like to the point where I will still occasionally find one. But at this point it's like maybe we held on to one or two of them. I put them in a drawer somewhere. And then I stupidly let my kid play with them. And now she's not hiding them so much as she is just leaving them out places. And I stepped on one of these things the other night, and it is like the loudest I've screamed at a cool moment. It made Lego seem like a nice thing to step
You thought it was like a ladybug that wouldn't die?
No, it just didn't. I just stepped right on it, and this little, neat, hard plastic polystyrene baby arm went like straight in the middle of my foot, in the sole of my foot.
Somebody
it was just sharp.
Somebody did a similar thing in our LA office for IGN where they hid baby ducks, and they're just everywhere.
What?
Someone got it. Like, they should not sell bags of 100 things. And I say this as somebody that put hot dogs and mustard inside of Easter eggs.
Baby, like rubber duckies or whatever?
They're rubber duckies, but they're hard plastic because you can't make rubber that small and also make it like squishy. They're like the size of those. They're like if they made like a Mighty Max size play set for Batman Returns, like that's how big the ducks are.
I love that I know exactly what scale you mean by that. But okay, yeah. I don't know why I don't like that. I think baby ducks is stupid, but babies is funny.
Okay.
I think it has to be like the item you have to hide has to be just perplexing enough that it's really weird when you find more than one of them. It's one thing to find.
I agree.
Like if you found like a little duck, I don't know. There's something about that where you're like, oh, somebody must have bought a bag of plastic ducks, but like little babies, I don't know.
No, the baby thing is scary. I think
it's a little creepy. Yeah.
Yeah. whereas baby ducks not so much. But yeah.
And it can't be mean spirited like little plastic spiders or something because that's just too upsetting.
Spirit Halloween should be called mean spirited. I think they should change their story. Yeah, and they should get a little more evil, or maybe do like a month a year where it's not Halloween and they just sell like even more fucked up stuff.
Hey, how come they don't have any holidays about being mean to people? Why don't we have one of those?
I mean, April Fool's Day, right? Where you just lie to people.
Yeah,
that's up there.
Yeah.
Halloween, you get to like scare people.
Yeah, that's kind of up there. You do.
I think it's pretty mean to like trick a kid into a growing child into thinking that there's a rabbit that lays eggs.
But it's pretty cool.
Have you explained this to your daughter?
Okay, so she went to Easter at a friend's house, and this was kind of her first like conscious Easter gathering. Mm-hmm. And they went like kind of hard on the gifts, and she got like a little skateboard. And it was a skateboard that has like a handle for like, it was like a very generous gift. It was awesome. But like, it was also really hard to explain how a rabbit got that into the house.
Oh, they canonically stated that it was from a rabbit.
They were like, it's from the Easter Bunny. And it was kind of like, I don't know, when you're like, Santa Claus is a guy who comes in your house and he brings you presents. And you're like, that's weird, but okay, he's a guy. I get it. If you tell somebody there's like a 6-foot rabbit roaming around, that's some Donnie Darko shit. And it's I can see how that is immediately upsetting because you're just like, rabbits are that big? Mm.
Yeah, because that's a thing, like that people can be 6 feet tall. Mm-hmm. Your kid especially knows that because you're 7 feet tall. But no, your kid doesn't think that a rabbit can be 6 feet tall.
So it actually got compounded shortly thereafter because somehow in not a great neighborhood, somebody just has free range rabbits. Like I live between a bunch of freeways. I live in kind of a rough neighborhood, and there's like feral cats, which is one thing. They're just like two rabbits that just hop around. They live under somebody's car, and they're just always, they come in my yard and they take shits, and I don't care. It's fine but it's like I keep waiting for them to get eaten or something or hit by cars. But they are hardy rabbits. They are out there. They're doing it. They're hanging in there. I don't know if someone's feeding them. They're just there. Whatever.
Oh, no one owns them. They're not, or maybe they do own them.
I don't know. They're free range. They're just roaming around.
They're like outdoor cat rabbits?
Yes. But they're like,
shit.
They're like big ass rabbits. They're like large. There's 2 of them. And what really fucked things up was shortly after this whole skateboard Easter Bunny debacle with my kid, where she would be like, so wait, how'd the Easter Bunny get the skateboard in the house? Does he have hands? And I'm like, oh my God, what are we doing here? Then we were walking home one night and she sees one of these bunnies and she's like, look, it's a bunny. And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, is it the Easter Bunny? And I think I was like, yeah, sure. And then she's like, how do you move that skateboard? And I was like, oh my God, now she thinks she lives down the street from the Easter Bunny. It just gets completely confusing. Like,
she thought it was, oh fuck.
Your kid found an Easter Bunny, like like an egg left over from Easter.
Yeah.
It's weirder if you just see the Easter Bunny and you're like, oh fuck, there he is. It's like seeing a teacher outside of school. Like man. So, and again, I feel like I can go pretty deep on Santa Claus lore, like we've all seen enough movies about that shit to be like, oh, how does he do this? And it's like, oh, he can transmogrify, or he can turn into liquid like the T-1000 and slide under the door.
Uh-huh.
Like,
doesn't matter if you have a chimney, he'll like morph through your window or whatever.
We all have like a clear understanding of, his background, his lore, his history, all that stuff. But the Easter Bunny, I just found out recently that he lays eggs, I thought he was a mammal.
Well, the thing about him, like I think we started.
He's laying eggs everywhere. It might be
or they,
know.
Right? They them. When we started doing,
there could be multiple of them. We don't know.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
is it like a V for Vendetta thing, like a Spartacus thing? Are they all out there? There's a bunch of them.
It's not really explained. No, I realized when we started doing Easter Bunny shit with my kid, I think she was 3 and we were renting a house with a yard. So I was just like, come outside. The Easter Bunny has left presents for you, right? But theoretically, or not theoretically, but millions of people probably just hide chocolate in their house. And then they have to explain that the Easter Bunny can get into their home.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, there's the movie The Santa Claus, where it's just like, hey, Tim Allen will figure out a way to get in your house no matter what. It's probably because, he's a cokehead. but the Easter Bunny, like they haven't really explained. And there's like Hop with James Marsden, which is I think it's James Marsden. Is it him?
Yeah, he was rehearsing for the Sonic movie. He was
it's just
shape, acting against a CGI animal.
Yeah, it's him driving around in a car, being like, "What are you talking about? You're from Planet X." But that I don't think that one really gets into the rules of like, can they get into your house and stuff like that, right? Because like when we've like rented a yard or like, you know, in our house now has like a little yard, like I can hide them out there and I can be like, haha, rabbits are outside all the time. You almost never see rabbits inside, so this makes a lot of sense. But Santa Claus going from his house to your house makes some sense. You know,
I guess
especially
it gets down to what's more alarming for a child, the idea of a man coming in your home or a large animal coming in your home.
I mean,
How big is
Santa?
the animal? No one knows.
Yeah, Santa gets a vehicle.
Yeah,
You know, that is fucking powered by magical horses, basically, like unicorns, Pegasus. But like the Easter Bunny, they're just like, oh, he just fucking hops to, you know, 7 billion houses in a weekend or whatever.
Knowing that this started in like the 1500s, I just like to imagine that some dude was drinking like well water that had mercury and lead in it or whatever, and he was working on some illuminated manuscript, and he like, you know, forgot that he was drawing a chicken and started drawing a rabbit laying eggs, and then suddenly he was like, oh, and then the rest is history, I guess.
It's sort of amazing that we keep doing it. Like it's out of control, actually.
It's wild. We didn't even get to jelly beans, man.
Oh yeah,
which are like that's where we get into like the really good corner of Easter candy, because I like that Easter candy is colorful. A lot of it's very bright and colorful, and then you get, I feel like a lot of really wacky fruit shit goes on over there. You get like Starburst jelly beans are amazing. They're so good. Skittles jelly beans, great. Other jelly beans, very good, aside from the licorice ones, which I'm not.
Wait, okay. So you're describing a couple companies that have dipped a pinky toe into jelly beans in like the last 5-6 years, and to your credit, knocked it out the park. But
the Starburst jelly beans have been around since like 1996.
Okay, but for a long time, there was like Brax.
Yeah, there's Brax.
There's a lot of companies that made jelly beans that really just do not have any. They don't have a right to be there.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think this is an equal opportunity holiday. I think anybody who wants to step up to the plate, make a jelly bean. Let's see it. Like, you know, let's taste it. Let's see how it goes. There's a lot of.
What is this?
I'll be the judge of that. No, but there's a lot of companies.
You want to make jelly beans? Go right ahead.
Go ahead.
All right, Geico, step right up. Show us your jelly beans.
For Easter, yeah, like sure, whatever, no rules. But no, there's a lot of companies that like
Outback Steakhouse. Let's see your jelly beans. Whip them out.
If Outback Steakhouse made jelly beans, that'd be one of those things. I would be at the midnight launch with 16 other people that like should be tested for suicidal tendencies to be like
the midnight launch of Outback Steakhouse jelly beans.
Hey guys, we're trying something new, and I'd be like, "Are you what?" I know there's some animal stuff in some of these usually, but like, are you guys going all animal? Like, are you going whole hog? What's the deal? Is this?
I mean, that's a restaurant chain that was founded by two dudes in Florida who saw Crocodile Dundee and got so excited they invented a new fried onion dish. Like they had never been to Australia. Being like, jelly beans, Easter bunny, sure, why not? It's
not beneath them, especially midnight launch for new jelly beans. I think they would do it. If there's a state that's going to do a midnight launch for steak themed jelly beans, it's Florida. Sorry, Florida keeps catching strays, but like, hey, look. You earned it. No, so jelly beans are good, yes, but I don't think that the caliber of Easter level jelly beans are very great. Usually, I think there's more bad than good out there at Easter.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of freaks come out at night at Easter.
I think
when
you're
it comes
out of
to
your
jelly
fucking
beans.
mind. I think Easter candy is delicious. It's great. It's mostly in funny little shapes. Cadbury Creme Eggs, I think they're great for the first bite, and then you get a headache.
Yes. Cadbury Creme Eggs are one of those things.
Cadbury mini eggs, they are what M&Ms should be.
I agree. And if M&Ms were Cadbury Creme Eggs, hospitals would be full.
I had my wife in tears the other day. We were at Target, and I was like really upset about something. I was like stressed out or whatever. And then I had one of the most like brilliant, like hard left ADD moments where I was like, I'm really frustrated about this. And she's like, it's okay. It's going to be fine. It's going to be cool. And I looked over and they had Skittles Littles, which are like mini Skittles. Have you seen those?
Yes.
And I was like, And my brain just went clunk and just like skipped a gear. And I was like, I was disappointed by those Skittles Littles. And she was like, why? And I was like, they were too small. And she was just like, you ginormous simpleton. I married you. What are we doing here? And I think she was like sort of humoring me, but she's like, what? Are you upset about real things or because the little candy is too little? What's wrong with you?
I think if you gave a rabbit that only eats vegetation a Cadbury cream egg, it would explode. Like, I think you could fucking easily, instantly kill a rabbit, right? You had, like, that's one of those things. It's like, you know, a chicken and egg type of thing, but you put a rabbit in the middle of it. I also think you could kill a chicken with a Cadbury cream egg.
By like throwing it at it or just feeding it to it?
Yeah, just feeding
both is true.
So like, I think that when we grew up eating those things, we were, you know, you have a lot more sugar in your system when you're a kid, right? And so like they feel totally normal. But when I have like a whole ass Cadbury cream egg now, like if you were to one bite a Cadbury cream egg, as a at your age,
when I have like one little bite, because they go to the effort of putting a yolk in there, you know, like I like that it looks
weird.
like it's like a real egg. I think it's cool. They commit to the bit, so I want to see it. So you bite it and see what the inside looks like, you know. And if I try to eat the whole egg, I don't try to eat in one bite. I definitely try to do that when I was like in third grade and probably threw up or something. But like, no, man, like I would go to the hospital if I ate an entire Cadbury egg in one bite. It's just too much.
It is such a funny thing to have like a chocolate dairy company try to emulate like a raw food like that.
That is
like, imagine like if there was a company that made like, you know, chocolate milk steaks or whatever, and it was like a T-bone.
Well, what I love is that like Cadbury for the most part does not come over to America because of some bullshit with Hershey's. So there's any Cadbury that's released stateside is like some different recipe, and it's hogwash. They literally wash hogs with its bullshit. Hershey's has
bitter butter battle or
it's
whatever. Yeah,
garbage. But once a year they are allowed to come over with their cream eggs, and so they basically just wage war on us. They pretty much egg our houses with their Cadbury cream eggs, and they just come over. They're like, "Oh, you don't let us have regular candy year round? Here's some marvelous creations for you. They're fucking eggs. Good luck. You're gonna have a headache and a stomach ache." Man,
yeah,
but no,
those things rock your brain.
Yeah, no, that's like that's. It's probably what it's like to eat crack cocaine. I've never done that, but I imagine it's up there. But it's also if you had a big meal first at the same time.
At some point, they started selling them in when we were kids, they were like in 5-packs or whatever.
Fuck that.
You bought them like the way you bought bullets. Yeah. Like, now,
too much.
Now you can buy it. You could buy like a solo, which is like a, you know, like an airplane snipper or whatever of Cadbury. You know, like the little egg. Yeah, the little vodka bottles people sneak in their socks for prom or whatever. Yeah. You can just buy a single egg, which you can't do for real eggs. Like, you can't go to the store and be like, 1 egg, sir. But you can do that for Cadbury cream eggs, which I think is amazing.
I think you should be able to buy a Lucy egg. Just go to Trader Joe's. Eggs are expensive these days. Maybe you want to.
I think we're getting there. Yeah,
we're almost
getting there. There'd be like a guy in a street corner just whips his shirt open. Yeah, need eggs.
Got some eggs. On that note, I think we should probably call it. You know, I did not think we would spend this long talking about Easter candy, but here we are. We do it. If you enjoyed us talking about Easter candy, we talk about all sorts of things that we like. If you have ideas of things we should talk about, you can email us thisthingRulesShow@gmail.com. You can head over to our Patreon, which is patreon.com/thisThingsRule. You can give us $1 so we can buy more candies with it, or you could just give us ideas of what to talk about on the show. Either way,
$5. Get 5 whole eggs? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
The riches. You could kill us with $5.
Pay for all the telehealth appointments I have to do after eating an entire Cadbury egg, and I call a guy up and say, I have a tummy ache, and he says, what did you do? And I said, I had a Cadbury egg, and he said, don't do that.
Like, honestly, we like as you can tell, like you'll get us going on any subject. So if you have suggestions for episodes, we're here for you. And yeah, if you love Easter, like I think we do after this episode, I like a lot of parts of it.
The eggs.
That was your takeaway.
They're good. Good eggs.
They're good. You crack them, you eat them.
I don't know. I like that we have, we have some weird lore, us humans here on the planet Earth. There's some strange shit that we do, and we don't really think about it too hard. And I think that rules. I also like a nice basket full of candy for no reason. You know,
That is good.
it's great.
Yeah,
If you go to church
very
first,
rare.
good for you. If you don't, if you just go in the yard to eat the eggs, that's cool too. Whatever. Be paid.
I don't eat. It's probably like what 70, 80 times a year you get to eat food out of a basket for the most part. It's weird. No, actually, it's only on Easter.
I'm thinking about this really hard. I think if you are either like really if you work in like sales and have a lot of clients who send you gift baskets, maybe.
Okay,
Or if maybe someone dies, why do people send baskets?
It's a really easy way to carry a bunch of shit.
I know. Well, I know that. I just mean like
It's a fancy
like
bag,
like
Max.
Gift,
What do you want?
I mean like a gift basket full of shit.
It's a bag someone made.
Thank you for that one. Well, we'll talk about how much baskets rule once I figure out what those are exactly. But thank you all for listening, and happy Easter,
Happy Easter.
or April Fool's Day, or just arbitrary egg eating Thursday. Have a good one out there. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. And before we go, just a quick shout out to our Patreon producers, Ben Burkhalter, Paul Atienza, Kevin Lemasurier, Steve Cam, Donald Cole, Caleb Hilliard, and Billy McKendry. Thank you all so much.
You stole Deacon's Easter basket.